Hello everyone, it's Kay here, and I'm here today to share with you some of my most recent makes. I have to say I haven't been doing a great deal. Things are quite busy around and about me, and I find that I can't sit and concentrate to anything of any magnitude like albums or anything that requires a whole lot of in-depth work, because I simply don't have the time and concentration basically to deal with it all. So I thought I would show you what I have done to just keep my hand in with crafting, and it's something that a lot of people online are sharing currently. It must be where a lot of people are finding themselves at the time of year, and they're making embellishments. Well, I've been making these for several weeks now, on and off, just a few here and there just to keep my hand in, and thought I would come along and share them with you. So they are very simplistic, as I'm sure you'll see. I do use mirror card because I do feel it kind of kicks back your design for you and gives it a really rich and lovely look. But this is basically just an ordinary die. It wasn't an expensive one. I believe I bought it on Joe's Craft Pad on Facebook, who has recently had some very good sales on. If you haven't encountered Jo, do go along and get into her group. She is just such a lovely lady and makes embellishments for a pastime herself, and I do find all of that kind of thing very inspiring. But basically, again, the die set came from Joe's Crafty Pad a long time ago, and I just layered, had a little heart die here, another bit from this outer die which I've utilised just to put a little flower in the centre there. That's a mini blossom from a punch, but I thought all in all very effective, very plain on the back. You know, you could either anchor it to something or put it on a package front, or you know, just even turn it into the centre of a lollipop fan, or you know, whatever your heart desired really. Very simple to do, and there is such a lot of job satisfaction, I'm going to call it, from these little things, because they are finished. You don't have to be worrying about coming back and finding the time to finish what you started. You can set yourself a level of how much you want to do, time allowing, and pretty much complete that. And there is satisfaction in getting a job done that you want to do and finishing it. I then went on to make these little lovelies, and all they are the same die again. It is really versatile and cuts beautifully, as I'm sure you can see with the stitch detail. I then went along and made these large paper clips. I have backed them because I do like things to be finished properly, but it's plain, so if you wanted to, you could pop a little message on the back, or just, you know, put your details on the back. It's entirely up to you. And again, that's just a little bow, flat back pearls. I've used a great many little scrappy bits, which is also a bonus, I find, because we are avid collectors of all things that might come in handy as a collective, I would say. I don't think I'm on my own in having little bits and pieces stashed away here, there and everywhere from completed projects. So I got my busy head on and decided I would do something about that. So I made 5 of those. They are absolutely identical, but like I say, I do feel they're quite effective and will, I'm sure, come in handy for all manner of things when I start to get down to crafting again properly. I then went on to make these rosettes style with a celebrate on it. They are extraordinarily dimensional, as you can see. I have only scored at 1/2 inch. I didn't want to get into the 1/4 inch folding. Whilst they look lovely, I think if your cardstock or paper that you use doesn't fold very readily because it's thick or because it splits or what have you, then to do the 1/2 inch tends to save a little bit of that, so I've kept it fairly straightforward. And I made 5 of these, but I have gifted out. You can see I've just put a little ribbon on it, a little sentiment. They are so easy to put together, plain on the back as you can see, and just great fun. And they will, as I keep saying, come into their own at some point and be added to racks or, you know, little giveaways and things like that. I just think it's lovely. If you wanted to do something like that for someone's birthday, it wouldn't be beyond the realms to put a little bit of felt on the back, add the readily available little brooch pins that you can get on eBay, and that would actually look quite lovely, maybe to somebody who's got a birthday or a special occasion that they want to celebrate. I have put a little heart in there, some flat backs as you can see, but the glory of making this kind of thing is you just use whatever you have to hand. It doesn't have to cost the earth to put it together. It doesn't have to, as I've already said, take hours and hours. They are just super fun to do. Again, I've used the white ribbon, but you could, to make the bow, but you could use baker's twine. You could use the gauze and split those up and just make them as dimensional as you can, and that just adds totally to the overall effect, and it goes from being quite bland to being quite an attractive thing to look at. Again, I've used the mirror board purely and simply because I believe it does throw back the papers and everything that you've used, and it does take it up a notch. It's just a nice way of doing. Not for everybody, I can appreciate. And then I found my little bit of leftover glitter paper, and I've just done, I think this die was free from a magazine, the Dragonfly, and then just married it up with papers in moustache, as you can see, the same doily on the base, but whatever you use with it does alter the overall look. I didn't have enough of the glitter paper to make 4 separate individual different colours, so what I've done is, if I've used a green dragonfly, I've used a black background, and then just I've used a blue background, beg your pardon, and then just put the little sentiment on the front, and Bob's your uncle, the job's a fish. A little bit of flat back pearl just to add a little bit of ding-a-ling, you know, and any scraps would do this sort of thing. You could sit there and make all your little rosettes of an evening sat in front of the television once you've scored them, and all that is a 2-inch piece of paper from a 12 by 12, I think it was, a pad that I bought a long time ago, and just cut it to 2 inches, scored every 1/4 of an inch, and then the 2 little discs, top and bottom, to anchor them down and secure them, and then put the embellishment on the top. I think you'll agree they're quite effective in their own way. So I made some of those. Not content, I then had to dig out my little cake cases again, which I've flattened, as you can see, and just by virtue of the folds that are in the cake cases, it does give it a very pretty look. Pink paper, a little flower, a flat back. I have this tiny little banner style which I've cut out with the die cut machine, folded it over the paper clip, and then just added little embellishments to that. But how cute is that? You know, there are just such a lot of things you can do with these rosette style embellishments. I was playing then with another embellishment here, which obviously isn't finished, but I just used a border punch around the outside edge, formed the rosette as you would quite normally, stuck down my 2 little pieces, so that one is ready. But you can change the edge on your rosette so very easily and just make it look like a whole new event. And then, because I think I'm in this place where I am making small things, I made this lovely little tag, and it's probably about 3 inches by 2 inches wide, no more than that. And what it is label tags for luggage and so on. So I just backed it with some dictionary paper and inked it. I had these little corrugated hearts here that I just cut in half, because as you can appreciate, this tag would not have taken the whole heart. Put on some lace, a little bit of twine at the top here underneath another heart punch, a little bit of lace, a little wooden heart there which was from Fernley Designed, inked it up, put some ordinary paint on it just to make it that shabby chic way, and added Celebrate on the front. And I don't know about you, but I thought that's quite an effective little something that, again, you could gift or tie onto the front of packaging. And I think it probably, there's the back of it, ultimately very, very plain. So you could message, put your own details on it. But I think that probably took me about 20 minutes to put together, allowing for drying time and that kind of thing. Again, scraps upon scraps, so I'm feeling quite pleased with the fact that all of the things that I've shared with you today have cost very, very little and will come in very handy in the not too distant future. So I hope I've inspired you to go on and perhaps look at some embellishments in your own right, and look at what you've got available to you and just play. That, I think, is when your best ideas just pop into your mind, because you just get in the zone and off you go. So thank you for sharing this time with me. I'm sorry my videos are a little bit sporadic, to say the least, but I am just gently playing away in the background, and I'll come back as and when and share what I've done. Thank you very much. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye bye for now.